If you're in your 30s, you probably feel that inflation is going a bit too crazy in Singapore. Chicken rice that used to be $2.50 when I was a kid is now closing in on $6 per plate. You've also been working to earn money for a while, and now you wish for your money to finally work for you through the power of investing. I did a poll on my YouTube channel asking people why they were so hesitant to start investing their money even though they know how important it is for their future, and the most common answer so far was that they were all too afraid to lose their hard-earned money. So in this video, I want to break down this monster of a concept called investing into small actionable steps, starting from low-risk money market funds and all the way to high-risk index funds like S&P 500 so that you can get started with investing as a Singaporean today. So before we dive head into the exciting world of investing all your money, we first need to do what I like to call laying the bricks. What this means is to lay the foundation of how your entire investing plan is going to be, and this will be done in a two-step method. Step number one will be to define all your big ticket items that you are preparing for, especially in your 30s. So basically this could be your weddings, you're buying a proposal rings, otherwise no ring, no wife, right? Then what are you even investing for? Every month when you get your salary, even before you start investing, you need to put money aside for all these big things. This is basically money that you cannot invest and money that you cannot touch because you're going to be in trouble if you touch this money. Step number two will be to define your investing goals so that it keeps your eye on the prize and it excites you to continuously and consistently invest even when times are bleak. So an example for this could be a number figure that you choose to retire with at the end of 20 to 30 years. In my case, if I follow this two-step plan, step one, which is big ticket items, would be my wedding bands, house and renovation. So step two will be the investing goals, and for me that's a retirement portfolio of between 2.5 million to $3 million so that I can retire comfortably with a passive income of around $10,000 per month. Once you're done with laying the bricks, now it's time to dip your toes into the pool, and that brings us to the first investment vehicle, money market funds. With each of the investment vehicles, we'll be talking about three main things: how much risk you are taking, how much money you need to get started, and what's the time horizon for this entire investment. Money market funds are basically very low risk funds to park your money because they lend your money to reliable banks and institutions or even the government. They pay you a small amount of interest, usually between 2 to 3%, usually nothing too crazy but still better than your average regular savings account in the bank itself. The money is also credited every working day and you can slowly see it accumulating, earning you more money. There is no minimum amount of money that you need to get started with. So for me, this is the Longbridge Singapore app that I'm currently using to show my positions. You can see that I have over $6,000 that's in the Fullerton SGD fund, and this is my idle cash that I keep in this account right now. It usually gives around 2+% returns annually, which is similar to some of the high interest bank accounts without all the complicated spending criteria. You can also see that the total income that you earn from it and exactly how much money is credited into my account every single day. You can withdraw this money anytime, which makes it super liquid and convenient. So for that, I would say that this is an investment for the short term where you're basically keeping this idle cash that you want to deploy into the market soon. So you can think of this as being paid to wait for the right opportunity to strike. On the topic of talking about money market funds, if you're a new user to the Longbridge Singapore app, then you might just want to consider downloading it for their juicy new user promotions. Right now, they're offering 12% interest booster on your first $2,000 for 90 days that you deposit into their Cash Plus funds, and that includes the 6% interest booster that you will get if you use my exclusive sign up link down in the description box below. There's no need to complete any buy trades, and you just need to opt into their Cash Plus funds with a $2,000 deposit. Once you opt in, the money will be invested into either the iFast SGD or USD funds. From this screenshot here, you can see that I actually have money in both the USD and SGD funds. These funds are super liquid, and I'm just parking my money here temporarily until the stock market shows a decent opportunity. Then I can utilize that money to really strike the market and buy the stocks that I really want. So think of this as you being paid to wait for the right opportunity, and then you can use the interest that you earn to buy even more stocks. But if that's not enough for you and you still want to qualify for free Nvidia or Apple shares, all you need to do is deposit the respective amount of money, complete the required number of buy trades, and keep the money in your account for 30 to 90 days. I've just completed my 90 days and 5 buy trades, so I'm very excited to show you guys my one free Apple stock that I received in my account that's worth over $200. There's obviously nothing better than receiving free stocks as a Singaporean. We all want the best deals that we can get. On top of that, because I had to satisfy the 5 buy trades to qualify, I bought shares of VOO during the whole tariff situation, and that also brought me an unrealized profit of $316. So in total, even without adding in the interest yet, I've already earned over $500 unrealized profit because I haven't sold anything, right? Just for getting started with investing on Longbridge Singapore app. Of course, if you're like everyone else and you're afraid to make mistakes during the process of either depositing your money or even buying your very first stock, don't worry, because I already made a Longbridge Singapore app tutorial video just for beginners. You can just click on the link in the description box down below and follow the steps and get started with it without any fuss at all. So now let's get back to the video. Next on the list will be dividend stocks. This is something that you'll probably be interested in if you are Singaporean. These two words, dividend investing, are probably one of the most searched terms on the internet because everyone in the world is so obsessed with passive income, right? Even I was really into this when I was in my 20s. Even right now, I want passive income, but I just know that you just need to work a long time before you can actually qualify or earn some little bit of passive income, but it takes a lot of effort. But that's essentially what these dividend stocks are like. You buy these stocks and every year they will automatically pay you a dividend, which is a small amount of money just for owning this stock. Usually around 3 to 5% returns, which is higher than the money market funds. You might also be thinking, should I invest into the Singapore or the US dividend stocks? US has a 30% dividend tax, while Singapore does not have any taxes on capital gains or dividends, so Singapore might be a better choice in the long run if you choose this route. Especially since Singapore is relatively more stable in terms of the stock market, you don't see huge fluctuations of 20, 30 or even 40% very often in a short amount of time. With that, I would say that dividend stocks are right around in the moderate risk category. The danger here is to not be lured in by all these stocks that promise you a high dividend yield, but they are actually not making money and that they have an infinitely declining stock price, right? So let me give you an example. Imagine that you invest $1,000 into this company A, right? And then let's say they pay you a very high dividend of 10% per year. So 10% of $1,000 would be $100, right? So they'll pay you annually of $100. But what if something is going on in the company and they drop like 50% in the last year or so? They had problems with their company, they're not earning any money, there's a lot of embezzlement going on or something like that. You basically earn that $100, but you now have a paper loss of $500, which means you are an overall loss of $400. It becomes a bit more risky because you need to do more research and know more about the companies that you are buying into and invest into some of these higher quality ones. I myself was interested in dividend stocks, and so I conducted a small experiment just to see how I would feel about it, and I was investing into this thing called the Real Estate Investment Trust. Short form from it was REITs. So I invested around $60,000 into CapitaLand Mall REITs and Ascendas REITs, which paid me around 5% dividends every year. It was actually quite a nice feeling because their stock prices had very small fluctuations relatively, and no matter what happened, I get paid a nice sum every single year. So each time when they were paying me, I would get payouts of around $500 to $1,000 on certain months on top of my salary. So it felt really like passive income. I didn't have to do anything but just to read up on these companies, make sure I invest a good amount of money into them, and just sit back and collect the money. However, the thing with Singapore dividend stocks is that you need to purchase at least 100 shares of it. So taking CapitaLand Mall REITs for example, which is around $2.19, you need $219 to get started, but a more expensive stock like DBS Bank stock, which costs $40, you will need $4,000. So depending on the price of the stock, you will need a larger amount of money to get started with this kind of investing. The time horizon on this can also vary quite a bit, but I would say most people who invest into dividend stocks have a mid to long term investment horizon because of the fluctuations in stock price, and also to compound their money as the companies increase their dividend payouts every single year. Or rather, if they're doing well, they should be increasing the amount of money that they pay out to their investors every year or every other year. But if dividend stocks are not your thing, then maybe you want to look into index funds. This is by far my favorite, and is also the one investing method that I have personally chosen for myself because it is the laziest way of investing. This is something that all the YouTuber finance gurus out there are talking about because it's the tried and tested way that usually gives annual returns of around 8 to 10% with minimal effort. So instead of stock picking and having all that pressure of having to pick a perfect stock to deliver crazy returns back for you, index funds are basically a basket of these stocks that allow you to invest into many companies at one time. So take the S&P 500 index fund, the godlike example that everyone is so interested in all the time. It basically consists of all the biggest companies in the US like Apple, Google, Tesla, and so forth, right? So by investing into this S&P 500 fund, you're investing into a little bit into all of these big companies as well. So the portfolio is very diversified to some extent, and you have a very low chance of losing all your money relatively, yeah? So for index funds, I think the US stock markets have a bigger advantage than our Singapore index funds because they have higher returns, so it just makes more sense for us to invest into them. There's arguably a lot more risk investing into index funds as well because the fluctuation in stock price can be a lot, almost like 30 to 40% changes in a recession. So you really got to be able to stomach the pain when something like the tariff situation hits and you see your portfolio just dropping to the floor so quickly. So you don't really need that much money to get started because in the US stock market, you can just buy 1 share or 2 shares. That's the minimum in that sense. You don't need to buy the 100 shares like the Singapore stock market. A lot of the brokers also allow you to buy fractional shares, and what this means is that even if those shares cost about $500 per share, you can still buy the amount that you can can afford like $10 itself, and you can still own a fractional share of this stock, which makes it perfect for beginners as well. You also do not need to monitor any of these stocks, because if you are investing for the long term, anything in between is really just noise, and you would just be tempted to make the wrong decision. Some index funds that you might personally be interested in can be things like VOO, SPY, or even CSPX, which I personally use to invest into the US stock market. So if you made it to this point of the video, you're probably very good looking, very intelligent, and you definitely deserve to hear these bonus tips. Tip number 1 is that if you're just getting started with investing, just deposit a good amount of money and participate in the new user promotions of some of these brokers. If you can do that, you're essentially being paid to start investing, and you'll be given some of the bonus interest boosters for the money market funds. So I would personally just use it and start investing into some of them for some extra cash. Once you start that off and start seeing money deposited into your account every day, then you'll get hooked on investing. From then on, it buys you around 30 to 90 days of time until the interest booster wears out. Which brings us to tip number 2, which is to utilize that time to use any of the available AI tools to find stocks that you might be interested to invest in. I personally use things like Copilot, Perplexity, or even ChatGPT, and they're really good tools to really just help you find out things, because you basically want to know what these companies do for business, whether they are making money, and whether they are a good investment overall, right? It's just like buying a house. You want to make sure you know the exact location, you want to make sure that you're buying at the right price, and whether it will appreciate in the future, and so that you can sell it for a profit, right? You must make sure that you're doing the same due diligence for your stocks as well. Once the interest booster expires, then you can move that money straight into those stocks that you have identified, or even start monitoring them closer so that if they drop to an acceptable level, you can then buy these stocks. Alternatively, you can also just dollar cost average and consistently buy into the index funds so that it just becomes a consistent habit for you. I honestly understand about the fear that you have as a beginner to start investing your money in the stock market. We're all scared to do it because we work so hard for this money, and there's just so much psychological baggage with it. Honestly speaking, even after investing for so many years, whenever I press the buy button, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies whenever I'm buying the stock. It's just normal. It's just a lot lesser than it is for me right now than before, but it's still a lot, right? But I promise you, this habit will be so useful for you in the future, and your future self will definitely thank you for it. Create a retirement portfolio for yourself, make money start working for you, and create some sort of leverage for yourself in the future. Hopefully this video has gotten you started with investing, and let me know in the comment section down below which investment vehicle you chose to go with. If you enjoyed this video here, then you'll probably enjoy this video here on how to start investing as a beginner on the Longbridge Singapore app. Thanks for watching, have an amazing day as usual, and I'll see you guys in the next few videos. Bye bye.